Namaskar. We continue with the book How to Overcome Mental Tension by Swami Gokulanadaji Maharaj. In the previous lectures, Maharaj had discussed the effects of meditation. Today we start the chapter Steps to Meditation. Maharaj says, earlier we have discussed some of the proven means of overcoming mental tension, meditation being foremost among them. Successful meditation, we saw, puts us in communion with our real self. Apparently, we are all on our surface self and are not conscious of our inner divine nature. This makes us suffer from tensions of various kinds. Maharaj continues, in this context, let me cite an incident that occurred in the life of Swami Shivananda, the second president of our order. It was at the time when Mahapurush Maharaj, the name he was popularly known by, was suffering from an acute attack of asthma. He was then staying in the Belur Mutt. One morning, a Swami asked him how he was, and Mahapurush Maharaj said that he had a terrible night. The blocked nose and acute asthma did not give him a moment's rest. He was suffering greatly when he thought about meditation. Immediately he got absorbed in his inner self and all pain was at an end. In that state of absorption, the external world has no effect on the mind. It gave him real relief. The secret is to dive deep into ourself whenever there is unbearable agony. Then there will be no further problem. As far as rest of the physical body is concerned, Mother Nature has provided sleep, but good sleep is not a sure means of curing all kinds of tension. In sleep, our overburdened mind does not get adequate rest. This can only be possible when it is trained to hold communion with its own real nature, its intrinsic self, by definite methods of concentration. This is the verdict of great mystics, yogis, and sages. Real rest and relaxation is possible only through a specified technique of meditation. Often we have the mistaken notion that a change of occupation will bring peace of mind. In times of great tension, we try to put aside our strenuous work and read magazines or watch television. This may bring temporary relief, but real relaxation comes only when we learn through the process of meditation how to relieve the mind from all our so-called physical, intellectual, and emotional burdens. This brings true freedom, and rest, peace, relaxation come in its wake. It is common to pass through phases of fatigue, disappointment, disgust, depression in life. Analyze philosophically, we can trace them back to psychological confusion under which we are laboring all the time. This confusion is mainly due to our inability to comprehend the actual relationship between the subject and the object of this world. As the writer, I am the subject, and all what I perceive is the object. The correct attitude would be to view everything as the indivisible Atman, but instead we limit our perception to the body and the mind, or the externals. There are categories called non-self, and when we are engrossed in them, we forget the real self and identify ourselves with the non-self. The result is confusion caused by the limited perception of the I. The non-self is actually active while the real self is not doing anything. It is a mere witness. Our mistake is that we think we are doing this or that. Everything depends on us. In other words, we are dominated by this egocentric I, forgetting the real I. We are deluded by the ignorance that we are the doer and not the witness. Consciousness of the real self brings the awareness that we are Atman, which is a witness, an illuminator, not limited to the activities of the mind or the body. With the help of successful meditation, we become established in this attitude which brings relief, peace, and tranquility. Let me narrate my experience of dealing with the boys of a residential college in West Bengal during the period I was a brahmachari in the Ramakrishna order. I was having much difficulty. Fortunately for me, Swami Siddheshwaranandaji, who was the head of our center in Paris, once introduced me to one of our trustees, Swami Shashwatanandaji, and said, whenever I have some trouble, I should seek his guidance. One day I went to him and confessed that I had an acute problem of depression. Since he was a true Vedantin and established in the distinction between I and not I, he could correctly solve my problem. He diagnosed that my problem was due to a confusion between the identity of my apparent self and my real self. I was identifying myself with the brahmachari so and so, who had some particular duties to discharge and was facing many problems. I unburdened my situation to the Maharaj and he asked me a relevant question. You say your mind is disturbed. Now tell me, are you the mind or are you the Atman? He explained that since I was limiting myself to my mind, which was jada and not pure consciousness, I was facing problems. I should lord over my mind and assert my real nature, which was the highest dimension of existence. To get rid of my suffering, I had to stop identifying myself with the not I or the mind body complex. We all have a body and a mind, which are objects possessed by a possessor. These two aspects of ourselves have their own eccentricities. The possessor of these two is the real self. We must become conscious of the distinction between the possessor and the possessed. As a brahmachari, I had made the mistake of thinking that I am the mind. Once we recognize our mistake, we can begin to correct it, and here is the efficacy of meditation as it helps us to realize our real self. We find a fountain of glory within and get great peace. Swami Shivananda once said about the meditative state, the strain and stress of the external world could not penetrate the mind. I was absolutely tuned with my divine self. Once we reach this state, we have no desire to leave the seat of meditation or indulge in secular talk. We want to continue in this divine state of intoxication and get more and more attuned to the real self. Now we get real rest in the midst of all hectic activity. We become free from all tension. A question may be raised by beginners on the path of meditation as to how they should progress to this end. The first necessary step is to be able to sit quietly for a sufficiently long time. Then we should be able to see what passes through our mind and be willing to wrestle with the wayward thoughts. Ultimately, these thoughts should go away and the mind should become calm. In modern civilization, it is difficult to find even a moment to sit quietly. We have such methods of sitting quietly as reading a book or watching video. But the need is to do the same thing without any external help. Taking the help of some newspaper or TV is not a permanent solution to our problem of restlessness. Once we have acquired the habit of sitting quietly without any external help, we should move on to the next step. For some time prior to the hour of meditation, we should try to think that we are absolutely unrelated to the world and have nothing to do with it. We may have different duties as husband, wife, father, or mother, but we should cultivate the feeling of non attachment to all things and all people. Swami Gokulanadaji says, in this context, I would like to mention the advice given to me through a letter by Swami Shraddhanandaji, the then head of our California Vedanta Center and disciple of Swami Shivanandaji. He wrote, "Well, each one will have his problems and anxieties. We cannot avoid them. When we have problems in our everyday life, we have to solve them. At the time of meditation, we should keep these problems and worries at the relative plane of existence. Remember that you are the highest self, that these problems and anxieties can never affect the Atman. When you sit for meditation, leave them behind." This is the crux of the whole matter. Even if it is for 5 minutes, we should cultivate the habit that we are not related to this world and that there is only you and your indwelling Lord. When we try to have this feeling of being unrelated to anybody or anything in this world, we feel a sense of eternity, as if we have left the world behind and have no longer any obligations or duties whatsoever. Then, when we come back to our normal plane from our deep state of meditation, we find that we can discharge our duties better in whatever role we are given, such as husband, wife, father, mother, administrator, and so on. But if we forget the real I and get confused with all the worries and anxieties of the non I, neither do we get success in meditation, nor are we able to control our tension in any way. Therefore, we have to approach meditation with the feeling of what is called eternity. To achieve success in meditation, it is thus necessary to feel completely detached at the time. We have to go beyond the relative phenomenal world of multiplicity. In that condition, we realize that none of these relative things have actual existence and we transcend all relationships. There is no feeling of my being confined to my body or mind. God alone is real, and the entire universe has vanished. This is the only way we can come close to our true nature. Today we will conclude here itself. In the next session, Maharaj will discuss that the inherent powers of the mind are tremendous, but it is unfortunate that few people realize it. Hope you enjoyed this video. For more videos like this, do stay tuned to Devakshar. Like the videos and share the videos with your friends and family. Do subscribe to our channel. Thank you for being with us.